So this thing keeps happening 24 hours a day. The smallest box saves you about 50 kilowatts of power. So it's equal to generating 50 kilowatts of solar at half the price.
Yeah. Well, okay, so
Why you see that?
why is it one of these in every building?
I want to ask you that. You're very lucky. Why is it not in every federal building? No, validate. Anyway, it's happening.
Yeah.
So I want you to take this. This is a woman-owned
Good afternoon, everyone.
that is approved and sole sourcing because the sole distributor, global distributor for that. I'm the technical guy.
We are starting planning
It's a
discussion.
woman-owned business. It's in McNeil Air Force Base, in Peterson Air Force Base, space station. All critical applications have this because this is also water quality improvement. Because the more and more organizations and you don't know all the organizations, you got clean power. You're driving a car,
So,
giving you water.
start. So I'm Kumar Mang. I'm a
30
certified
miles
energy
a
manager and work as an engineering
because it
consultant for
removes all
Session3.
the headwinds.
And I'm the moderator for this panel
That's
today.
right. That's why it's a
And
great.
the topic of
It's doing
discussion
all
is
these
maximizing
things.
partnership
These are the
and
benefits.
resources. Partnership
The small benefit
can be
is
critical for leveraging expertise and resources
And electric
to build infrastructure,
These are the reasons why
developing innovative solutions, and providing services and much more. With
Yeah.
partnership,
So it's
can
a
maximize growth
self-sustaining.
and achieve goals.
one
So
meeting
the
is all it takes
stand
with me
here is
because I'm focusing on what it does.
discuss on the topic and provide a point of
Industry
view
Tyson.
based on their
They
knowledge and
put
experience
7
over the
billion
years.
electric
So we have
in less than a year.
Dr. Ashish
These
Agarwal.
units.
He is the Director of Energy and Utility Solutions Group at Guernsey. He plays a major role in energy planning for multiple DOT installations across the continental United States, Alaska and Hawaii, and he has over 25 years of experience in energy and utility industry and public private partnerships. Welcome, Ashish. We have here Matthew Graham, who is the Oklahoma Director for Energy at NDA. He has over 14 years of experience in energy industry, specializing in alternative fuels, energy conservation, operations management, and engineering. Welcome, Sam. We have Will Gibson, who is the Director of Energy Solutions at ES2. He has over a decade of experience in energy efficiency, sustainability, and natural gas leak detection, working with Fortune 500 companies and government agencies. He serves on the advisory board of OSU Industrial Assessment Center and is a Next Gen Under 30 awardee. Welcome, Will. We have Claire Hicks. She is the brand analyst at 820 Solar. She has small businesses, manufacturers, and agricultural producers with grant applications for programs like US DAV and UE IAC grants. She also assists low-income communities and tax-exempt entities with solar incentives and has worked with USDA Rural Development on Business Program grants and loan guarantees. Welcome, Claire. And Kelsey Putnam-Hughes. She is the Principal and Energy Geoscientist at Sun Energy. She co-founded the Tulsa Renewable Business Alliance and has extensive experience in both legacy and renewable energy project development. A recipient of Allied Energy Entrepreneurship Award and an Engine Fellow, she is committed to advancing energy solutions through leadership and strategic partnership. Welcome. So, we'll start the discussion here. The first question that comes to mind is, how do you define partnership? And what are the key elements to a successful partnership, and what are the challenges that arise for it?
So, since I have the microphone, I'm going first. So I think, what is a partnership? How do you make that work? The whole reason that you are all sitting here today is that you are a partner in some sense to at least OSU, or at least you're curious about being a partner. So thank you for all being here and having the opportunity to think about what is available. So when myself and my other co-founders of the Tulsa Renewable Business Alliance 3 years ago sat down over a cup of coffee, I had sat down with my co-founder, Edith Newton-Wilson, and said, you know, I've just started a solar company. I come from oil and gas. I'm a geologist. Where are the people? Where are the companies? Where can I find them? Because, yeah, I live in Tulsa. This is the oil and gas capital of the world, historically. So where are the renewable businesses? Because surely they're here. You know, half of the electrons that we're enjoying today were generated from a renewable resource. So we are truly a very energy mixed community and state and region. But identifying not only who the businesses are and the individuals are that are in that renewable space, the larger energy industry at whole, you have to know who's in your backyard. So you have to do a tremendous amount of events like this. You have to get together and talk and interface and find out what the pinch points are of these prospective partners and not necessarily just what you need. Because sometimes maybe a potential partner needs something that you actually have already figured out. So you need to be able to provide that solution, and then that opens up the door for further collaboration. So if there isn't a space where you can convene like we're doing today, it's probably time to make that space. So that is how the Tulsa Renewable Business Alliance was founded. There really wasn't a forum for these business leaders to collaborate and to meet and provide opportunities to each other. So that was really kind of the impetus for that organization to be founded. And I really have to give it to OSU in this case in being an extremely early collaborator to TRBA. And I have to thank Dr. Bora for joining me a couple weeks ago on a workforce panel at our own summit event that we held in Tulsa. So that to me is the epitome of what partnership is like. It's what can I do to help you? Hopefully we're going to be banking some of that for the future success, and how you can help me hopefully later down the road.
Okay, I guess we'll see how this goes. Well, I think we were tasked with a really fun task of making sure everybody was up after lunch and awake and ready to go for the rest of the afternoon, so I'm really excited for that. When we're looking at partnerships, I think really the foundation of that is making sure the partnerships have aligned values, making sure it's important, what's important for you is important to your partner as well, because that's what I think goes through making sure that you have a long-lasting, relationship, which means that you have a successful partnership. Along with that is, you're both winning. It shouldn't be one-sided. When one person wins, the other person wins, and vice versa. And you might not have the same win, but overall, after time, you're continuing to win because of that successful partnership. And it's actually really cool. I worked at the USDA for several years, and I was able to make several partners there at the USDA. And when I decided to kind of make my switch out of the USDA, I was looking and I was, figuring out what I wanted to do. And when I looked at 820, they had, aligned values and, making sure that they had quality products. And the core values were very familiar to me. And my father-in-law was like, Claire, why are you going to the solar company in Oklahoma? And I was like, I promise you, it's the right move. All the values are the same, and that is what creates a successful partnership. I think vice versa is if you don't have the same values, and that's where you can have a really unsuccessful partnership.
I completely agree with what you were saying about aligning on core values. That builds a strong partnership, and then if you have those misalignments, that's kind of where a lot of the conflicts arise out of the partnership. But even adding on top of that, everyone in this room, we work together in the energy efficiency or in the energy world, whether it's renewables or sustainability. We all have, if we looked at our why we're doing what we're doing, we all align in some way. There's going to be some overlap. And that's kind of why we're all in here. But even more interesting is we're all really, really good at something. I'm really, really good at a few things. I'm really bad at a lot more things. but making sure that when you go into these partnerships, their strengths are going to be where your weaknesses are. And so maybe you don't like, it could be something as simple as accounting. That sounds terrible to me. Someone loves it. So partner with someone that loves your weaknesses, that's going to excel where maybe you don't. And that brings the most value to customer, to the end user, to what we're doing in our industry kind of as a whole.
So I'll kind of add on to that I kind of feel like a partnership, like Claire mentioned, is a win-win. But to get it out of that transactional state and into a true partnership state, I also think the organization still has to not only participate in the upside, which is the sell of it, but also participate in the downside of it as well. So really making sure that they're integrated in with you and aligning with what your values are. If you are over a facility and you bite off geothermal or something, then you are doing it based on an upside. But you're also betting that there's not a downside to it. So a true partnership values your upside and it values your downside. So that's what I kind of think a partnership is.
Great. Always fun to be last on the panel, right? All right, partnership. So I guess what is partnership? It's just an agreement, right? It's an agreement with a common goal. Whether to make a profit, whether to meet a mission, whether to do the right thing for the community. Like in our world of Guernsey, DoD is a big client. For us, the partnership is making sure we meet the mission of the installation to do whatever we do, right? So we have life partners, right? I have a wife, she's my life partner. So what do? When we select partnership, we want to make sure we have some understanding, we have some level of trust. If you cannot trust your partner, obviously there can never be a win-win situation. Partnership is a long-term commitment to do something that we carry our core values on. So if you don't have proper trust, you don't have proper communication, those are the strengths and weaknesses of a good partnership.
Great point here. So basically for a successful partnership we need trust, shared goals that align expectations, and the challenges arises when we have misaligned values and the communication is not open. So how should entities approach potential partners for collaboration, especially in addressing resource needs? And based on your experience, what economic and social impacts have resulted from successful partnership? I'd like Claire to start.
Okay, well, he's keeping us on our toes as well. So at E20, we're a resource-based company, right? And so when I joined, it was really cool because we were able to have all the professional, everyone who was needed to complete the project. And it's actually, we're talking about partnerships. On my way here, I called and I was like, can you tell me what this acronym is? Because I did not grow up in the renewable space. And so we have like the PV design specialists and the PV install professionals, and then, myself who helps the customers write the grants. And so when we have a customer that comes in, we're able to take care of a large majority of it. But when we're looking at partners, they also offer services that we might not be able to, or that we don't, and they bring things to the table. So that's where we're kind of talking about a win-win, because I feel like a good leader equates to a good business, and you need to identify your weaknesses kind of as Will spoke. You're not going to be able to do everything, and so that's where you look at a good partner that is able to offer your customers or your other industry professionals what you can't. And so I think that is really helps when you're looking at resources and looking for a good partner.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I think it again goes back to making sure, especially on the resource side, that whoever you're partnering with can kind of make up in your weak areas with their strengths. And even on top of that, partnership with OSU ITAC, for example, brings a tremendous amount of benefit to clients that we work with that want to make these implementations. They want to be on our team and fight the fight that we are going after every day. They just don't have access to hundreds of thousands or billions of dollars to just go replace all their mechanical equipment or to install solar or whatever the recommendation is. But by partnering with OSU, they can come in and do the audit and qualify for the implementation grant. And it's a huge benefit for not just our customers, but for our industry as a whole. So using that partnership to bring a lot of different strengths to the forefront of what we're doing.
I had to reread the question. But I think that whenever you're selecting a partner and you're kind of determining what steps you're going to take as you kind of integrate and form into that partnership, it's really good to kind of see what all is out there in the energy space. We've seen tremendous change on over the last 10 years and a lot of different offerings as well, from as a service to performance contracting to financing options that can really help your project work well with the metrics that you may have in place. So I think what's important is hear out different companies, listen to what they're offering, what they're able to figure out, and then find those trusted people inside of your communities as well. And be able to talk to them, hey, where have you done this before? Because I hate to say it, but if it's the first time they've ever done it, probably not a good one, unless you just kind of want to be on the front page or something. So I think that it's important as you're kind of vetting through who those partnerships are, to take a look at that in the holistic market overall and reach out to your peers in the marketplace as well.
Yeah, totally agree based on what I'm hearing. So basically, what do you do to find a successful partner? The first thing is do your homework. See what your needs are and who are the players in the industry who can help you meet those needs. Once you shortlist, then talk to those individuals, have those open communications, make sure your goals are in alignment. Like we heard this morning, energy savings performance contracts with DoD. Those are long-term relationships. It's a 25-year contract. We help DoD with something called utilities privatization. Those contracts are 50-year contracts. It's a 50-year partnership. We want to make sure we are doing the research, making sure we find the right players, and among those right players, depending on your needs, not every partner may work out. Some company may be great in renewable energy, but maybe my needs are not renewable energy. Maybe renewable energy is not feasible for me. So yeah, they are a great company, but not something that meets my requirement. Maybe I need to look for another partner. Likewise, Guernsey is an employee-owned company. We are 100% employee-owned. Every single person who works for the company is an owner of the company, is a partner of the company. So when we hire people, we have to do our homework. We have to make sure we're bringing the right people on the team, which carries the values of the company further to the goal to meet the long-term sustainment for the company.
So how do you pick your partners? You guys have all addressed it. So this is the advantage to being the last person to ask the question. So you're all completely right, and I'm sure you have all experienced this as well. You actually have to know what your ask is before you're really approaching your partners. You can have all sorts of coffee meetings and just talking our way, but when it comes down to actual action, you need to know what the ask is, and you need to know, hopefully, at least something about that company that you're interacting with or that individual, so you can get kind of some meaningful feedback from them to make sure that you're sitting in alignment, you have that shared value, that shared mission. And that was exactly what we had to do with TRBA. Before we even accepted our first members, we sat down, we had to map out our mission, vision, and value statements and really understand, okay, what do we actually consider renewable in this case? And we had to also then make sure that, in terms of soliciting these partnerships with these member companies, a lot of them are oil and gas companies too. So then there was a whole other thing that we had to be thinking about, making sure that our member companies understood that the forum that we were providing was going to be a space that was equitable for everyone to join. The conversation topics were going to be focused on the business of renewable businesses. And that really helped kind of delineate our focus areas and then who we were going to be approaching for further conversations.
Great. So basically, fostering a long-term relationship is crucial for financial success and bringing, a diverse set of entities under one umbrella to solve problems. I would like to start with Will this time. Can you share a success story from a project or initiative that highlights the benefits of a strong partnership?
Yeah, absolutely. So the one I'm going to go with is pretty cool because if you look out the window over here, it's the tallest building we've got. So that Devon Tower was one of the first large projects that we worked on at ES2 as a company, which I guess was probably 12 or 13 years ago now. I can't quite remember, but at the time, they didn't have the staff capacity, the engineering that we needed to put that building together. There's a digital twin of that building that exists, all the lighting, all the mechanical equipment, every air change and every bit of airflow in that building is controlled by our building automation system. And what's so interesting about this one, and kind of why I wanted to share it, is we couldn't just go partner with someone that maybe wasn't a direct competitor with a different system, so this was an automated logic system. We had to partner with someone that directly sold the same building automation system that we did. So we had to go into a partnership for this building with an identical direct competitor of us, and it worked out great. Even now, 12 years later, we talk about what it takes to have this long-term partnership. We still work with the Devon Tower every single year on their Energy Star rating. It's a LEED Gold building, and to be a part of that when they were designing it and when it was under construction is something that we're definitely still very proud of at ES2. Would not have been possible without a partnership, would not have been possible without a partnership with someone that maybe you wouldn't have thought of beforehand, but customer comes first, their priorities were our priority, and we got it done.
So I'm going to kind of give an example of, I think it's easy to kind of share maybe some good stories that we've got, but I'm going to kind of share one that didn't go so well, because that's kind of when you figure out if a partnership works or not, is whenever something goes wrong. If it's going great, then it's just a good sales transaction, good project management effort. But we did have a customer, and I'm not going to name the name, and things get with it now, but we had a customer that we were doing a performance contract with. So we had already provided guaranteed maximum prices. This was around COVID, when costs skyrocketed substantially. And we had already ate a substantial amount of cost on that project, but then they needed it done in the summertime, so narrows the market a little bit. Needed it done in the summertime, we went in and pulled out all the AVs out of the facility, waiting for the shipment to arrive because we're in a tight time frame. And shipments got delayed. So then they got delayed a week, they got delayed a month, and now we're getting really close to the start of needing to utilize that building again. So we basically took trucks out of our trucking division and trucked them down to the manufacturer's location, just waited for them to be loaded on and drove them back up to the facility, and then worked days and nights to get it completed. No, we did not make a lot of money on that project, but it was just also we didn't want the reputational tarnish either of something like that happening because we gave them our work that we were going to complete it. We let them know that, hey, this is a partnership and we're here for you. And they were concerned the whole time that we were going to increase their price. No, we're going to give you a guaranteed maximum price. We're going to do what's right to get this completed. So I think that's normally the example that I would at least use with you all, is a positive example of one that didn't go well, but just exemplifies a good partnership relationship.
Thank you, Matt. From my experience, when we talk about success stories, so I guess we work with Department of Defense in utilities privatization effort and ESPC, UESC program management support. I have hundreds and hundreds of success stories, but the one I'm going to share is right from our backyard at Tinker Air Force Base. So the installation decided to privatize the water and wastewater system. So for people who don't know, now the water and wastewater system at Tinker is owned by the city of Oklahoma City under Oklahoma City Water Utility Trust. So when the system was privatized, they had like 56 lift stations to pump the wastewater from the installation to the city, basically, for treatment. And as you know, like, as typical with any military installation, the installations was built in chunks, and every time there was a need for a lift station, they put in a new lift station, funded through income projects. That's one of the beauty of privatization, where when the system owner came, he don't care about individual projects. The system owner cares about the system as a whole. So the first thing they did was they did a master plan. How should I reconstruct the system with some part of the system are 70 years old, some are 60 years old, and so on and so forth. So of course the contract calls for redesigning the system, rebuilding the system in the most efficient way. And when they did the redesign of the system, those 56 lift stations were replaced by 9 lift stations. Talk about the level of savings. We're literally talking hundreds of millions of dollars of saving over the 50-year period, millions of dollars of saving per year. And of course, yes, there was an investment, capital investment needed in the project, but the investment was needed and respected because the system was old and outdated. Could DoD have gotten that kind of funding to do that project in 5 years? I'm hearing no way. so beauty of partnership. And again, I have hundreds of similar examples. Part of the reason why, especially entities like DoD, the cities, municipalities, so-called the non-profit entities who are tight on budgets, in my experience, the public-private partnership PPP works best for those kind of entities who are heavily budget crunched to get that lump sum funding into a project. But again, as I mentioned earlier, the key component is making sure we find the right partner to work with. So that's my system.
So examples of good partnerships, or perhaps I think even bad partnerships, is actually a very good point. I've worked at organizations all the way from the corporate level now to being the habitually employed, not employed consultant. So we all know there's a difference of capacity in what an individual, maybe your prospective company that you're looking to work with might actually have. And I think that's something that gets kind of glossed over when there's large projects being assembled. I've had an experience where a large grant opportunity was being pursued, and a number of the prospective partners were privately coming to me and saying that they were feeling really steamrolled, and that this other organization, the lead organization, was basically foisting, their ideas and their concept and their kind of how they were going to execute on the partner without actually accepting any feedback, and then certainly not implementing it, and then maybe not even providing the guidelines on how to actually execute the grant. So that is an example, I think, of that lack of transparency and communication that's really required to make an effective partnership. So an effective partnership, I recently experienced, and this is, I think, the first time this has ever happened, in my experience. We had at TRBA, we had a steering committee that was ready to organize our hopefully first annual event. And we had a modest attendee size limit of about 200 attendees. We're like, this seems achievable. We gave ourselves a number of months to put the event together. We had our steer code, we had our planning committee, and then we had all of these other folks assigned to actually put the thing together and execute. And I actually have to thank A20 was participated in that project planning part of the committee during the sponsorship chair space. So it takes a number of people and a number of companies to contribute to an effective project or event. So this event itself, everyone actually executed. Everyone did their job, which, raise your hand if you've ever actually experienced that, where everyone on your team has contributed equally. I see 2 hands up, guys. This is dismal. So that I think is really something we need to be critically thinking about, is that we as a planning committee were realizing, those of us that were on it, every one of us was either self-employed or unemployed or in the consulting space. That's not great. That was basically being put on the people that have the least amount of time and resources themselves to be contributing to that space. What we did have, which we're extremely grateful for, is we had really good sponsorships. So we had our corporate partners throwing money our way, which was fantastic, so grateful for. But that was what we really needed. We needed personnel, and we needed time investment. So sometimes I think that's an opportunity to really critically think, you know, where are these partners under-resourced, and where can I help kind of fill that gap?
So this question was actually really interesting to me, because I feel like throughout the few questions prior to it, we all kind of mimicked one another, yet during this question, we were all vastly very different. And so I think that actually kind of goes to play exactly kind of how we define, you know, partnerships and success stories within ourselves. And so the first one that came to mind for me is when I was with the government, I mean, how easy is it to work with the government on a daily basis? It's not. It's not very easy. And with my role, I was working with small businesses. And the small businesses, they have to wear every single hat within their small business. And the hats run out, and they don't have the time or the capacity or even the knowledge to be able to apply for the grants that allows them to be able to do the projects, to be able to reduce their energy costs, and then reducing the energy costs then allows them to, you know, put that money back into their daily operations, or hire more workforce, or expand their business, or things like that. Or, you know, put in the LED lights for them to be able to, again, reduce their energy costs, and so on and so forth. And so, when I was working with the government, it was super frustrating, and I was looking at these vendors, you know, that are here today, and they were able to, you know, help those small businesses be able to apply for those grants, to be able to utilize those funds. And so, for me, that was the most valuable partnership that I saw, and then now being able to continue that is, you know, the vendors and, you know, Oklahoma State being able to help them do the energy audits, to be able to make energy efficient improvements. And like that's, for me, small businesses and ag producers, an extremely valuable partnership.
Great stories that we have today. So looking ahead in the future, what is your outlook on the need to strengthen existing partnerships, develop new ones, and ensure the industry has the necessary resources?
Yeah, so I think continuing to develop partnerships is key. I mean, we don't want to get stagnant as an industry and miss out on a potential opportunity that's coming on the horizon. But I kind of think this looks at threefold. I mean, you've got the organization, and from an organization, it's important that we as trade allies stay up to date on what is the latest technologies, what are the things that benefit the organizations. On the flip side, I think you've got the entity that we're doing the work for. That entity also has to continue that they're pursuing partnerships, that they're making sure they're abreast of the latest technologies as well. And then I think it's on the student side too. So I mean, as the industry continues to evolve, we do need more students inside of the industry that are well trained. I know OSU's doing a great job of that, and they've got a lot of leaders out there. But continuing to replenish those necessary resources into the marketplace to ensure that the energy market continues to not only excel, but to thrive.
Thanks, Matt. So as we discussed, key strategic partnership is a key to the success when we thrive in this energy world. I mean, in my experience, one thing in terms of outlook is making sure we develop that workforce to operate and maintain the systems. So I'll just share a quick story. I spent 14 years of my career working in Alaska. I was in the military base over there. At one military base, I did the energy audit for 600 plus buildings. Out of those 600 plus buildings, about 300 buildings had automated control systems. Now this is Alaska, weather conditions, -40, -50 degrees Fahrenheit, every year for a week, very, very common. Heat is very, very critical. So the maintenance guys, when they get the first phone call, oh, the building is not warm enough. Guess what they do? They don't know how to reprogram their control system to jack up the heat for the building. They just bypass the control system, and now the building that was supposed to have a nighttime setback temperature of 50-55 degrees is running wide open, still heating at 70-75 degrees year round, and then all the fingers that pointed at that ESCO. You know, you promised us you will save X amount of energy, but we are not realizing those energy savings. What's happening? Well, guess what's happening? Your maintenance crew has bypassed all those control systems that was supposed to save the energy. So yes, we can invest millions of dollars developing technologies, but until we have that well-educated workforce to operate, maintain, to use that technology, you know what? Maybe we should go back to the Ice Age. So again, in my perspective, making sure that there is a workforce to successfully operate and maintain this system is very, very critical in terms of moving forward.
So what's the future of partnership? I think it is everything between engaging from the federal, state, and local level, but then also consider, again, from that workforce perspective, it is everything from K through 12, higher education, and then the professional realm, but not even just siloed within your industry. We have to consider the wide range of attendees that we have here today. I'm a geologist. I work in oil and gas, I work in solar, geothermal, what have you. I know there are infinite numbers of experiences and resources and educational backgrounds that you all have as well that are probably actually sitting outside of the energy industry. So consider the value chain that we are all engaging in the entirety of the energy industry. What other industries and nodes does this touch? Because probably some other industries figured something out. So that is a great opportunity for partnership. That is a way to be able to apply lessons learned from another industry and bring it into yours. So I think if we can engage that full stack of government entities and full stack of education leading into our in-place workforce, that's really where we're going to find our true holistic success.
Okay, so strengths and what we need to strengthen. I think for us in the solar industry specifically, for me here is there's a bit of a negative name for itself within the industry, right? And so for us, putting those dollars into building the relationships to build the trust is absolutely imperative for us. And so, marketing, we're not going to do that. We're not going to just go out and market, and we're certainly not going to be knocking on doors. And, but for us, it's building the trust because relationships transfer trust, right? We're not going and putting on the biggest system onto a project. We're going to put on the right size system because that, engraves trust into that business, and then that's going to transfer and create those partnerships that are lasting and that are meaningful and successful.
I think for me specifically and what we do at ES2 with our energy audits, we're always looking for new ways to save energy and conserve energy within a facility. So for us specifically, and kind of what I think, the future of partnerships, even today we've talked a lot about workforce development, but also technological development. If I don't know about a new lubricant that exists or a new type of solar panel, maybe it's a new type of battery that works with solar. If I don't know that these things exist, I can never recommend them to a customer. And then at the same time, if we're not having events like this, working with the Great Plains Center of Excellence, how are educators going to know that this new technology exists and say, might need to start putting that into curriculum, or maybe things are shifting a little bit. Like we have to stay ahead of it, and I think events like this help a lot for that. And then partnering in the future. Yeah, perfect, thank you. We can't do it alone, so as an industry, we're going to keep moving forward, and we need to continue to build new partnerships, new technologies, new ideas, and then strengthen the existing ones to make sure that we can keep up with the changes.
Thank you. So basically, identifying the challenges that exist today and seek out new partners and, aligning the goals with existing partners. So basically, that's a recipe for successful partnership. So, in light of our discussion today, how can the Great Plains Center of Excellence contribute to these goals?
Well, I guess we have already started the right track. The diverse group is already here. Dr. Vora is taking a great job bringing all of us here together to make sure we have a common goal to do the right thing for our future generations. And I guess Great Plains Center of Excellence is already doing it. The first event after the ribbon cutting within a month. Who would have imagined? So kudos to Dr. Vora and the team for making this happen. I think we are on the right track. I think developing those future generation with the right kind of education, knowledge, experience, hands-on experience are the key to the success of our future. And I believe we have started the track.
So how can Great Plains basically assist? Well, they already have. So I think we are again on the right track. So very grateful and thankful for OSU having previously collaborated with the TRBA on a previous networking event. And then of course the summit event where Dr. Mitesh Vora was on my workforce panel. But suffice to say, I think that the Industrial Assessment Center and the Center of Excellence can really help contribute not only just locally and to Oklahoma, but also regionally, because there's a vast regional connection for this organization, and as well tied to, of course, even the federal government. So from that perspective, I think that can really offer a highlight of what is being offered here in this middle of the country and the impacts that it can have and who all is already here collaborating on these problem sets. So I think that, moving forward, I think this is a great opportunity to strengthen the partnership within that kind of focus area and region, and maybe the companies and organizations that are ready, willing, and able to take on some of these new students or these newly graduated certificate holders from the assessment centers. So that is an opportunity to plug in and contribute equitably.
I think a really good key takeaway is good partnerships build success. And I think that's why what we're doing here today. And it was kind of funny because we were at the ribbon cutting and we heard about the conference, and I don't think there was really any information. And we were talking, really, I don't know, but we'll be there. I don't know, we'll be there. And it was kind of the same thing with the ribbon cutting. I think it came about like maybe a week beforehand, and it was so impressive about the amount of people and the amount of students and the amount of industry partners that were there to support it because they wanted to, because they were supported, by it as well. And so there's been so many times that as I'm learning about like the IAC grant, I'm like, Dr. What is this? How can I help this manufacturer? Or things like that. And so I think that's widely what we are doing here today.
Yeah, I can completely agree with everything that really all three of you said, and just to add even one little thing on top of that, it's a partnership, and we have to do our part to support the center as well. So what do we need to do past attendees of this conference or sponsors of this center to make sure that we double the size of the conference next year, the year after, and get even more people involved. And however beneficial it was this year, the more people that we can get involved, the better it will be year after year after year, going down the 50-year type of partnership that we were talking about earlier. So really, what can we do to support the center in return for all that they're doing for us as well?
Yeah, so how can the center kind of help contribute further is kind of what it's doing right now. I mean, education and collaboration. I mean, as an industry as a whole, and this is a regional thing that's going on as well. The center that Dr. Flores is working with as well. So how are we able to take that and collaborate with a lot of these guys around the room? A lot of us are competitors with each other. Yet we're all sitting up here on the same panel, collaborating on what are those next steps for the industry. What are the things that are being seen out there? How do we take it to the next level? And it's kind of tearing down those walls. I mean, obviously the education is a side of it as well. It's not only us as experts that are on this panel, but also the students, and educating the students to refill the workforce as well. So education and collaboration are the two things that I have.
So putting everything in perspective is like the great center of excellence is providing this kind of platform, doing these kind of events to bring diverse set of entities for collaboration and resource sharing. And it serves as a hub for knowledge sharing, resource allocation, and building the future workforce basically. So GPCoE has industry partners like and many more here. They understand the needs of the industry and they can train the future workforce for it. Basically saying that they can connect the dots for training the workforce for clean energy. Thank you. Now we open the floor for Q&A from audience. If anyone has any questions.
This is a great conference. Obviously, we need to get together. We need to have more partners. We need to collaborate more, talk more. What are some ideas about how often, how's the best method to continue these discussions and continue to get value without adding an extra workload to everybody? I just want to get the panel's ideas on how can we, as a Great Plains Center of Excellence, do more of this without having to have a conference every month or so.
That's a great question. I think I'd like to start. So, we can have like small events like lunch and learn where people from local region can come to a place and exchange ideas and potentially collaborate. That's one kind of platform that we can instead of having, because it's a logistical challenge to organize such a big conference. And so, having lunch and learn kind of events is not much of a business concept. It's not much of a logistical challenge as we call it.
I think it's also sharing the burden in terms of maybe having partnerships, having other organizations that are maybe aligned, that are holding events, and making sure that there's cross-pollination of attendees, but that then also requires communication that those things are even happening. And I think that that's maybe another challenge to having lots of events and lots of things to go to is when do you get the work done. So that I know is a major sticking point, but I really think that making it successful, how do we keep the dialogue going? Every event should have an action item afterwards. What are we doing when we leave today? What are we taking home with us? Or what are we going to implement? Or what conversation are we going to have? What email are we sending when we all go home? So to me, I think that's how we end up continuing.
Yeah, I think one more thing too is it is a lot that the center's taking on, and it's kind of a big, broad sweep, a lot of different initiatives. So maybe asking what the attendees of the conference or the people involved in the board or your trusted group what do they want to contribute towards? Is it workforce development? Is it R&D? Is it, yeah, so on each pillar, what are you passionate about? What are you going to, want to support that doesn't feel like necessarily work for you while you're helping us?
Only thing I'll add as well, those are good points, is as you kind of push this out to a more regional look, because this is kind of the Midwest region area, is even finding people in the room today. I mean, we have a presence in different places throughout that region as well. How can you partner with some of your regional companies to be able to take you to those other areas and help make those introductions? It's easier here in Oklahoma than it is in Oklahoma. And we all know each other. So we come to these events and we build it off of that. But how do you do it when you take it from here up to Kansas City or wherever else it's going?
Hello. I have a question about partnership with workforce development groups. So we talked a little bit about the ITAC. I'm curious if any of you have partnerships with other organizations that help with your employment, making sure you have the people that you need, make sure that they're trained well, that sort of thing.
So, can you repeat the question?
I'm curious if any of you have partnerships with organizations to help with your workforce, like developing the workforce you need, employing the people, right? Make sure you're qualified. We talked a little bit about the ITAC, I think, and what they might provide, but I'm just curious if you all have community college or other types of organizations you partner with.
Yeah, so we do partner with a number of universities here in the state, and it looks different between each university. Some of the universities will actually go in and bring on in different intern levels to intern with the organization. Other ones, we're actually doing speaking engagements at the university, and then we're also collaborating with them as a whole of what are we trying to see out of it. And they're tweaking those programs just a little bit so they're better fit whenever they enter the workforce. So this way, whenever we see that there's a student from OSU Industrial Assessment Center, we know that they already know how to get out there and do those assessments on those commissioning reports that we need for organizations. So we are doing that collaboration with the universities, just to make sure that, just to customize when they come out, we're just ahead of it. And I think that's good for us as an organization. It's less training and less money that we have to put in, and it's beneficial for the organization. We'll also stand partner side by side with them. We get a phone call from the university saying that they need a client to be able to walk through the site and see kind of how the commissioning report goes, then we'll actually so we'll partner with them as well, bring them on job sites as well, just to help them see and feel for what it's doing. The other thing is it allows the student to see, is this something I want to do? Last thing we want is for them to go through their entire degree and then get out there in the real world and be like, I like this. So we want to be able to make it a two-way street and a partnership with those universities as well.
Likewise, Guernsey has an active internship program. We go to universities every year locally. We hire at least 5 to 10 interns. And our internship program is very, very wide in terms of, we don't want our interns to work. We want them to share with the people who are working and understand what they're doing. Guernsey is a very, very wide company. We have design group, consulting group, and analytical group. So typically we rotate our interns, get them the taste of everything that we do as a company, and with the whole idea that they have a better understanding on where they want to spend their energy and which sector their passion lies into that is created by the industry. And besides that, we typically work with clients. Our clients are the best resource for us to get the right workforce. We understand the client needs. There are times when the client knows the right person for the skill set, but they have like a red tape for one reason or the other. They cannot hire that person XYZ. So that's where we fit in and provide the right resource to the client based on the needs.
I think we talked a lot about college and universities and things like that. But I think a really important aspect of it too is we, 820, actually had a lot of high school through the summer. And I thought, honestly, they were impressive. And just having them be able to kind of see, it's anywhere from finance to, in the electrician side, anywhere. They were able to choose what they wanted to do. And I think that was really imperative because by the time you get into college, you kind of are supposed to have a direction that you want to go. And so I think it was really cool for them to be able to have kind of a little bit of an insight to see, yes, that is the direction I wanted to go, or no, it's not. And then also I know that we've been working with our local tech school with the apprenticeship program for electricians because that's something that we're really needing to grow and to build and to have. And so while the universities is extremely important, I think also K through 12 being able to give them an idea of the direction that they do want to go to in college is huge.
I would like to add on that. So, associations like Association of Energy Engineers, they could conduct trainings. One of the training that is upcoming is in September, last week of September. It's a business energy professional. So it's meant for the working professionals like us to understand the basics of the energy industry. And that's how I got into I did the training, the certified energy manager, and that's how I got interested in this, work. And that is one way of getting people who are interested, but they don't know where to go. They do the energy training in their college or universities, and they still have that opportunity through these kind of programs to get into this. We are right on time. Thank you, everybody. So yeah, I was talking about, thank you, Kerry. So there is upcoming business energy professional training. I think it's on September 26th? September 19th. Okay, so September 19th, and it's at OSU West Watkins Center. Okay, so we'll get more details on that. Kelly will give more details, but that's what we have. Those upcoming trainings.
So the BEP training is going to be at the training center in Broken Arrow, September the 16th. So it's coming up pretty quick. But it's a way for you to get a national credential. There's certification that's available. You sit through 4 days of a test. Through a class, and then you take a test, and you get your certification, and you can put those initials behind your name, and we all need more initials. So, here's your chance.
Thank you, Terry. You got everything on the next one. Yeah, I still have a chance to register for that training. So, yeah. Thank you.